always hear people say, let go and let God. And I knew what that meant, but I didn't understand how to do it. And that's because I didn't truly understand God. See, a lot of people believe God exists, but they don't truly believe in Him because they don't believe in His power. They don't have faith in Him. They don't trust Him. And that's why it's hard for them to let go. I grew up deep in church, and I always believed God existed. And I always had some type of connection to God, but I questioned His power. Ever since I was a kid, I had extreme anxiety. I would constantly worry. And for some strange reason, I thought if I worried about something, I could stop it from happening. And that's because I thought I was in control. I didn't trust God to be in control because I had a limited perception of Him. The reason why I had a limited perception of Him was because of religion. I used to put God in a box. I used to view God as a human with human limitations. So it was hard for me to wrap my brain around how I could pray and He will answer my prayers when there's millions of other people praying just like me. I could have wrapped my brain around how God could be everywhere at all times. So when I would pray, I would hope God was going to answer, but I didn't truly believe He was going to answer. So right after I would get done praying, I would go back to worrying about what I just prayed about. And I watched this interview of 50 Cent where he talked about how he used to be afraid to fly. And he would always pray when the plane would take off. He would be praying like, God, please don't let this plane crash. And right after he was done praying, he would still be worrying. And he said he finally realized you either pray or worry. Don't do both. If you going to sit there and pray and then right after worry about it, how does God feel about you? How does God look at you? And he said it playfully, but that's real. Once I took God outside the box that I always had Him in, and I finally realized God is not a human. He's way bigger than that. And I started reading scriptures about faith and how He doesn't want us to worry and how the spirit of fear doesn't come from Him. That's when I realized worrying and living in fear is an insult to God. God created everything: the earth, the moon, the stars, the sun, all the other planets, the trees, the oceans, all the animals, including us. What makes you think God can't answer your little prayers? What makes you think anything you ask Him for is too hard for God or too much for God? God is not a scarce God. God is not a limited God. God is unlimited. He can defy logic. He can do things that don't make sense. You just gotta believe. And let's just say you do believe in His power, but you don't believe He'll do it for you. Guess what? That ain't nothing but the enemy trying to make you think you're not worthy, trying to make you think God doesn't love you. I don't care what mistakes you made in the past. That is a lie from the enemy. It's a scripture that says, without faith, it is impossible to please Him. For whoever draws near to God must believe He exists, and He rewards those who seek Him. If you have a pure heart and you continuously seek God and you have faith in Him, He's going to take care of you. So ain't no need to worry about nothing. I pray about everything. And after I get done praying about something, I tell myself, I'm not allowed to worry about it anymore. I already gave it to God, which means it's out of my hands. It's all in God's hands. True faith is not knowing how it's going to work out, not knowing how God is going to answer, but trusting that He will in His divine timing. Even when your human logical mind tells you that's not realistic, or your human logical mind can't figure out how it's going to work out, how it's going to happen, you got to just not care. You got to say, I don't care how, because I know who. I know who can make it happen, and that's God. Whenever you feel tempted to worry, ask yourself these questions. Did I create the earth, or did God create it? Am I more powerful, or is God more powerful? Am I all knowing or is God all knowing? Ask yourself those questions to keep yourself in check and remind yourself who is in control. You are nothing without God, but you can do anything with and through God. God has made things happen for me that once upon a time I didn't think was possible for me. And that's because I have the audacity, I have the nerve to have faith. I trust Him, I surrender to Him. And I'm not gonna lie, at first, it's scary. It's really hard taking your hands off the steering wheel and letting Jesus take the wheel. That is very difficult. It's very hard, especially if you're a control freak like I used to be. But guess what? Once you take your hands off that wheel and you let God guide you and you trust Him, you're not going to regret it. He is going to work wonders in your life. He is going to amaze you. He is going to surprise you. You going to really be like, bruh, I should have been doing this the whole time. What the hell was wrong with me thinking that I could run my own life? I pray this message blessed you. If it did, make sure you like it. Make sure you subscribe. I would love to see you again. And until next time, I love y'all. Bye.